The final division of the Greater Narcissist with regard to the fuel network is the Upper Greater Narcissist, the UGN. We address the fuel network of the most dangerous of the greater school, the Upper Greater Narcissist. The Upper Greater Narcissist is very intelligent, but not necessarily the most intelligent of the relevant schools. What sets the UGN apart is the level of awareness, his extensive hold on his ignited fury, and his intense calculation. He is a Machiavellian individual, a schemer and a planner. He is rarely impulsive, and instead deliberates, plots, and plans. He calculates the effects of his behaviors. He considers the ramifications in order to optimize the outcome and conserve energy. Possessed of high energy levels, this does not mean that he is keen to see his precious energy squandered. He values the facade, but what he values more than anything is his ability to manipulate. He hoards vast intelligence on people, exhibits a fearsome memory, and is extremely well connected. He is grandiose when required, but also revels in chicanery, shadowy deals, and behind-the-scenes manipulation. Whilst he admittedly enjoys mass adoration, he does not rely on it to the same extent as the MGN does. The UGN moves in powerful circles, can rely on powerful contacts and connections should he so choose, and is fearless in his behaviors. He cannot ever be beaten. He must always win, and the end justifies the means more to him than anybody else. He is malicious with those who cross him, and will readily destroy them. But he is adept at recognizing the worth of individuals to his grand designs, and therefore is not capricious in the application of his formidable destructive powers. Vastly charming, but with an edge, which has people wary, and indeed downright terrified, of saying the wrong thing, or committing an erroneous act. He is able to convert people to his way of thinking, and will do so through the application of charm or threat. He is content to apply one or the other, or both, so long as he achieves what he wants. That is all that matters to him. Single-minded, devious, and in it for the long haul. The Upper Greater Narcissist should never be underestimated. In terms of his fuel matrix, this is extensive. A. The primary source is never a family member, but instead is an intimate partner primary source. He is easily able to attract high-caliber primary sources for the purposes of the prime aims, and is tremendously effective in sweeping them off their feet. He, however, needs repeated stimulation, and will not suffer fools gladly, and therefore the golden period for those who couple with the Upper Greater Narcissist is likely to be the shortest of all the Greaters. The golden period is, however, intense and mesmerizing. The devaluation which follows is almost always the most unpleasant, as through an array of manipulations, the Upper Greater Narcissist will make the intimate partner primary source's life hell. Not beyond the use of sexual or physical violence towards the Upper Greater Narcissist against his intimate partner primary source, but it is extremely rare. Instead, it is the psychological games which appeal to the puppet master that is the UGN. And he revels in devising traps for the hapless victim to blunder into. The UGN will also continue to hoover in a malign method, and will hoover the IPPS even though she has been disengaged from, if the UGN deems it appropriate. The UGN, more than any other type of narcissist, will commence protracted and nasty campaigns against the removed intimate partner primary source. He does so in a way that is high in trickery. She knows it is him causing her this pain, but is unable to prove that it is. Such is the way in which the secretive UGN operates. B. Familial secondary sources. The UGN is not reliant on familial secondary sources, and often has severed ties with several members of this aspect of the fuel network, deeming them to be unhelpful or indeed hindrances. Those that are tolerated will be tolerated because they serve a significant purpose to the efficient and effective Upper Greater Narcissist. His coldness towards his family places them on respectful edge or over-the-top desire to thaw him out. He is respected for his accomplishments, and there is genuine admiration for what he does, but it is always tinged with wariness. C. Colleague secondary sources. The Upper Greater Narcissist, more than any other kind of narcissist, regards himself as peerless, and therefore colleague secondary sources really are there purely for his use. He has no concept of loyalty to them and will promote and demote as the situation is required. He is aware of the need for a facade, but is not beyond using that facade in two respects. There are those that consider the Upper Greater Narcissist as brilliant, engaging, and marvelous. And there are those who are terrified of him, but recognize they must obey and comply. The UGN is content to operate such a dual facade, as it presents him with considerable benefits. The UGN is likely to hold positions of authority and power with corporate entities, public bodies, the military, and politics. He has an extensive network of colleague secondary sources who will be loyal, out of admiration or fear, and he gathers fuel, information, and assistance from these extensive networks. The UGN uses blackmail repeatedly within his own business and engaging with those from external businesses. Those that foolishly come up against him regret doing so. The UGN will have a well-respected public business profile, but his best work is done in the shadows, as he applies real influence to events locally, nationally, and/or globally. It is highly likely that some of his sphere of operation is unknown to those who think that they know him, and the Upper Greater Narcissist has an off-grid colleague network also. D. Social secondary sources. The Upper Greater Narcissist has an extensive social network through his charm and influence. He can easily engage with people and soon have them in the palm of his hand, but easily bored and distracted, it is only the high caliber who keep his attention for a long time. Hence, his inner circle cabal will be less than half a dozen, but his outer circle network will be scores of people. Like the MGN, he never struggles for company or fuel from these outer circle admiring friends. The UGN will devastate the life of a social secondary source which crosses him, but for the most part he tends to just disengage and drop the individual when the UGN is bored and or sees nothing more to be gained from this person. E. The intimate partner secondary sources. The UGN gathers numerous intimate partner secondary sources. Unlike the LGN, the UGN usually ensures that the intimate partner secondary sources do not know about one another until or unless he deems triangulation advantageous. Similarly, he keeps them unknown from the intimate partner primary source until it suits his purpose, to reveal that there is somebody else, or more usually the suggestion there might be someone else, which can be plausibly denied. The UGN attracts intimate partner secondary sources with ease and requires them for the purposes of his fuel network when devaluation is occurring. He is also able to utilize several intimate partner secondary sources when he has no intimate partner primary source. The UGN will utilize intimate partner secondary sources in a shelf methodology and pick them up and down as he sees fit. He is swift to apply a corrective devalue to keep them in line, and if they will not respond, he will disengage. It should be noted that while narcissists do operate a double life, this is usually with the intimate partner primary source, and nearly all others tend to see the good side of the narcissist, save where otherwise explained in this video and the first two series. The UGN, more than any other narcissist, does operate a double life, with a charming and engaging public facade and a dark and sinister side, which is used against the intimate partner primary source, familial, colleague, and social secondary sources where required, and also against intimate partner secondary sources where required. His malice towards those victims that have been identified as deserving it is unrelenting, savage, and of a calculated degree that is devastating. He is able to call on many others in his fuel network to assist his machinations, albeit he is a capable and resourceful individual. F. Tertiary sources. The public face of the Upper Greater Narcissist is one where he will be well known. This might be in industry circles, business environments, a sporting network, or entertainment network. He will not be as well known as the MGN, but is not unheard of either. His fame tends to be more within esoteric and powerful networks, as opposed to mass appeal. Nevertheless, this means that his name, or perhaps more accurately his reputation, will be known to hundreds of people. These individuals will be treated in a benign way, as part of the good facade. But the UGN is also known to disincentivize certain tertiary sources for the purposes of sending a signal. Just like the devaluation of an intimate partner primary source, the devaluation of a tertiary source may well be linked to the UGN, it just cannot be proven. The Upper Greater Narcissist is well known, and his influence is extensive. He operates a vast fuel network, but in contrast to his brother narcissists, he also has an extensive dark fuel matrix, which most people would have no idea about. It is this ability to operate in a double sense and to drift in and out of worlds which makes the UGN so dangerous to his victims.